Hello, good afternoon. It's Chess Show on Pod TV. My name is Sasha Starr, and our guest today is Professor Ken Regan. Welcome to the show.
Yep, thank you for having me on again.
Great to have you always, Ken. And there are so many things going on in the chess world that we hardly can keep top of all that. The U.S. Championships right now. Uh, I'm watching a lot of broadcasts these days. It's so interesting. It's just unparalleled. I don't remember ever in the history of chess there would be so much accessibility, and almost any person with a internet connection can watch so many interesting games.
Yes, and Mark Crowther has been regularly going over 11,000 games for the week in chess. It used to be a big issue when he topped 5,000. Of course, actually, the 6,000, so almost 6,000 is Title Tuesday, which he includes now, but still
Mm.
a lot high volume in the summer.
Still, it's fantastic. Just came back from Montreal from Canadian Open. Now and I haven't played really well, got about 50%. And eh, it's not only the low score, it's just kind of, I didn't feel kind of a drive and didn't feel confidence for some reason. But it was a very, very well organized tournament, one of the best ever, in beautiful four stars Sheraton Hotel in Laval near Montreal. And organization was spectacular, second to none. So I can only praise this beautiful tournament. And drove back, visited Mont Tremblant. It's a fantastic place, but the last day I put too much driving. I got home, was sick for a couple of days, and now recovering. Feel much better.
What'd you say was a fantastic place?
Mont Tremblant. It's
Oh,
in Laurentians.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's really, it reminds very well the Collingwood in near there is a village in near Collingwood, and it's very very similar, but that Mont Tremblant is older and better developed and more scenery, but you feel like you are in Switzerland somewhere. It's very very interesting.
Mm.
Place, and I would recommend to stay there for at least 2 3 days, if longer. That's great. Just fantastic place.
Yeah, I
Well,
went
no,
over there when I did a sabbatical in Montreal. And unfortunately, I don't have any of your games. You and Nava were not on the demo boards. And my friend
no,
John
no,
Horowitz only got there
there's
once.
there's nothing to look at.
Mm.
Even the games that I won were quite mediocre. You know what? I should do much better than that. So I still
Well,
have.
I have two really crackerjack games to show from Beal.
Okay.
And I'm keeping it in the family, but it's a case of one up, one down. Uh, so, um, all right. So let me share screen. Let's see if I can share my whole screen. I'm not actually. No, I'm going to share a tab. Okay, let's see. Share. Let's see this one first. Hope this is the right one. Um, okay. No, actually, it's the one I intend to do second. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
So let me do the up one for the family first. Okay, share screen, share screen, share tab must be the second one. It's different order from how it is. Okay, this is correct. Okay, so there are two round robin sections in Beal called Masters and Challengers, and they are a triathlon. They have first a rapid tournament, then a then 5 days of classical games, which count more, and then a double round robin blitz tournament, and then the top two qualifiers play a further match. So this was the in the classical phase. So this is Ramesh Babu Vaishali playing one of the moves of the year against the strong grandmaster Alexander Donchenko. It was likely prepped, but it's still a fantastic move. So let's just go right into the game. Both of the games I've chosen feature king hunts by white, one successful and one unsuccessful.
Mhm.
So anyway, she is white. We play Caro-Kann. Advance is the main way to get enterprising and unclear and often crazy positions against the Caro-Kann. And there are different ways. This is a position where white can play h4 or play c4 with completely different strategies in mind. Yeah, so she plays h4, looking for just strong development and central pressure. Okay, so then so now this is this is a pawn sacrifice. It probably should really be judged a temporary pawn sacrifice, because black's queen side is the kind where you can often win back the pawn and in fact, Danchenko plays a move. I don't know, the computer queries it. It must obviously be book. The computer wants back to shore up the queen side first with either pawn a6 or knight a6 to c7, or knight a6 to b4 is even a possibility. However, it's natural to conserve the bishop. Now white attacks on the queen side, and now black's c4 will eventually fall. That's what I mean about getting rid of it. But black can counterattack and simplify. So this is maybe attacking a little too far. Okay. So obviously I've got the analysis window open, black should play knight d7. But I forgot to look up whether the extent to which this is known theory. So now black actually gets in trouble, because although black has recovered the bishop pair and white has some pawn weaknesses near the king, white is going to complete development by castling, whereas black is dangerously undeveloped in this position. Okay, black develops a little, but we'll see what the wages of being undeveloped are in a moment. Okay, so black castles. That completes the development, right? Well, it's like crossing the bridge in the scene from Lord of the Rings, where they're almost safely across, and the tail of the beast is just able to catch Gandalf at the end. So black looks like black is safe. Pawns are equal. Black has bishop g5, pressure on e6 coming, or queen h6 is a nice solid move. But whether it's preparation or inspiration, white has a fantastic resource. And what's interesting, actually, is that the engine says white should play rook f4. There's nothing wrong with rook f4. You're going to follow rook f4 with queen f3 and rook f4 and the other rook to f1, and it's going to put triple pressure on the f file. So it may even be objectively the best move. Oh, I see. It wasn't played at this turn. It was played at this turn. Okay. So now, okay. So now the computer definitely sees that black has made one weakening move too much. Actually, yep, sorry, I was a little glib there. Why doesn't this work now? Let's see. All right. So actually, it's okay. It's going to lead to play similar to what could have happened in the game. Okay. And black has to duck out. Okay, can't play queen takes c6 because queen b3 is a very beautiful checkmate. And the computer apparently sees that black can defend this position. Okay, but so it's possible that Vaishali either didn't think rook takes f7 was working yet, but after this weakening move, now the relevant thing is when black's king is on e8, this diagonal a4 to e8 is going to be open. So here comes rook takes f7. Okay, absolutely gorgeous move. The problem for black, if black captures with the rook, okay, so this will be a piece sacrifice. But the problem for black is that white's center is just going to be too great. Okay, and in fact, not only that, white is going to follow up capturing on f7 with pawn on e6, whether a latent or actual threat, win back the piece and just be pawns up. Okay, so Okay, so rook takes f7, not a good idea. So, oops, I had to. Oh, but that's actually That's actually what that is apparently what Alexander Donchenko played. So certainly was not in his preparation. Most relevant line is this. Now, once again, king takes e6, queen b3 is a beautiful mate. Okay. So black has to play king e8. Well, actually, black can't play king e8. Black has to go king g6 in this position. If king e8, then the opening of that diagonal immediately makes its presence felt. White is just going to capture the knight and play e6 and win everything. Okay, so black has to try to live by going out to g6, or white can just take on d7, and then it's an exchange and lots of obvious compensation, maybe not an immediate win. Okay, however, Donchenko did not relish the idea of his king going out to g6, so he actually played something that was worse. And here, maybe white's technique wasn't as good as it could have been. Okay, so here you just want to capture and centralize the queen. I guess you capture. Black takes with the rook or takes with the king. It's unclear which. Well, you're just going to play e6 and win in this position. It's not much to look at, actually. So it's going to take black a long time to pick up the pawn on d7, by which time you'll have opened up the center. So, okay, but anyway, so so white played queen a4, which maybe isn't cracking the whip as much as it could be. I mean, what it's saying is that black's knight has nowhere to go. b8, I guess, is not really a square, and it's also vacating for white's other rook to come to f1, and then white can really pile on f7. But black had a way to break out a little bit by playing knight takes e5, d takes e5, and then just make loof for the king. I mean, this is very strong, but white has to demonstrate more technique. In fact, computer wants to centralize white's queen. White will recover the exchange and be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, be a pawn ahead. So it should be a technically winning position, but it's not a crush. So, however, Donchenko went for counterattack right away, just gave the piece, and this is that were a couple of moves of nice finishing by Vaishali, and this to finish off the game. This is now checkmate. So nice that you don't take black's rook. You just are going to mate next move, whether black interposes or moves away. So yeah, beautiful game.
Very exciting rook f7 and continuations. Very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, so Vaishali, by the way, had 3 straight wins in the challenger section. Then she was caught. So she did not win it, but now let's see. Now I'm not sharing anymore, so I have to reshare. Okay, so present, share screen. Her brother, however, though, had a reversal right away in a game against the American prodigy Abhimanyu Mishra, whose record of being the world's youngest grandmaster may be under threat from the Argentine prodigy Faustino Oro. Anyway, he's another story. He's playing in Spain, however. Okay. So anyway, Praggnanandhaa has white, Mishra has black, and this game again becomes very tactical very soon. And what's interesting, actually, is we actually see the Morphy Ruy Lopez. It is not dead. However, black plays it in the more modern fashion, bringing the bishop out. This was considered dubious in the 1970s when we were kids, but so long as black doesn't mind sacrificing a pawn or two, it's theoretically fine. So here we go. And white plays h3. These are all very normal moves. So very often in this position, white has a strategy to play on the queen side with a4, and often you have to trade of pawns on b5. Often black can't defend the pawn on b5 and it drops off, but then black usually seeks counterplay on the king side against white. However, white plays the other side. So black has not played h6 in this position, which is sometimes even being played early in some of these positions. Oh, I played rook e1, rook e8, so white plays bishop g5. Okay, so now white is going to get pressure on black's king side. And now black is disincentivized to play g5 because black is already castled, although white is going to put enough pressure on to induce black to play that move. Okay, so black develops, white centralizes, black attacks white's bishop, white moves back to c2 with a very latent threat on the diagonal. And now Mishra played a very daring move. Okay, so daring move and maybe a forcing move. Again, I imagine this is theory. The players still had a lot of time left on their clock. I forgot to call attention to the clock in the other game. So Mishra played g5. It's certainly theory from Prague's point of view because he has used barely any time at all. And now if white retreats the bishop, then black is able to get a clamp against white's position. Okay, take on d4, and then black's pieces are optimally placed to put pressure on white. So white has to sacrifice the knight. It's not winning, but the computer notes that it forces black to find a series of only moves. So white is going to play to the g file with the queen and or the rook, and black has to organize a defense against it before white can mass the pieces. And the defense has to involve allowing black to come to h7 or black's knight to come to h7. In order to do that, you have to break some pins. In order to break a pin, you have to support the knight. So that's the logic of king g7, only move. Now, white has a bunch of ways to try to prosecute the attack, including queen g3, but that leads to a repetition because black is able to play knight h5. This move is legal because it attacks white's queen, and white has no good discovered checks. And what you'll get is a position where both players probably are going to repeat, or white can play queen f3, but then that's taking the foot off the gas a little bit. Anyway, so Prague went for slow build-up. Prague is still in his he thought for 6 minutes on this move, so maybe this is the first time he was thinking. My bet is that this is a known position, but maybe Prague had not specifically reviewed it before the game. Now, Mishra makes a very subtle mistake. The computer says either breaking the pin with queen d7, where you'll need the queen maybe for defense along the second rank, or playing the rook h8 move are both fine for black, okay, to organize a defense on that side. Instead, Mishra played queen c8. I'd be curious to know why. And he used a lot of time for doing so. His clock ticked down 18 minutes. It's almost 18 minutes. And by the way, in scientific findings, I'll get a chance afterward, I've done recent research that on chess moves where you think for a long time, you play worse, markedly worse, 500 ELO worse than your rating. This reproduces and confirms studies by some other people, Ashton Anderson and John Kleinberg and others at Blitz, and Sundakar, I have to look on my slides, noticed this for slow chess, but I found it to be much more vivid with my IPR framework. So long think, wrong think, and that gets in a bit of trouble. So now the king hunt is on. Black plays knight h7, d takes e5, but now here, I mean, this is tactics puzzle. White should play very prosaically and just assure the win of this pawn. Okay. And black can't go up to f6 and save it. Black's knight will be hanging, and other bad things will happen. So black has to duck away and erect a defense of the position. But then the reality is white has 3 pawns for the piece, and the pawns are going to come forward and attack. So white has a fairly major advantage in this position. In fact, it comes out even worse for black on further look. But anyway, Pragg now thought for a while, and Pragg thought for 6 minutes, having thought longer on his previous move, and plays a move that looks attractive because black can't play king to h8. That's queen takes e5 check is going to be keeping the attack going. But very surprisingly, underestimatedly, Mishra realized, and he played the move fairly quickly, that king h6 is actually okay for black. White can't get the rook to e3. I mean, let's take a look here and see why queen h4 check doesn't work. So this is the subtle thing. You think it's going to be mate with white's rook coming in the game. King g7, and then, I can't play rook e3. Black's bishop is on it. So never mind. There's no mate. White has trouble bringing up the forces. So in fact, that's why Pragg played the best move, knight f3, bringing up more forces. It's a sham sacrifice of white's bishop because white can play queen takes a4 check, queen a4 check and flank the rook. But now Mishra is able to bring the queen in, and Pragg thought knight f5 check is going to be a knockout blow, but in fact it's not. I think he just simply underestimated that if black plays rook g8, and if you play knight takes f5, you can just take it because white's rook queen isn't even guarded on g3. There's a pin against the king. So be interested to know if Pragg was interviewed to say what he missed, but it looks like just an optical illusion, thinking that black did not have time to coordinate this defense, but black does. So now black's king this might be what Praggnanandhaa missed. Black's king is just able to exit stage left, and it's snug as a bug in a rug on h8. And white has no more attack. In fact, white has to spend some time disentangling the pieces. So the rest of the game is just a very smart conversion by Mishra. Okay, so when we're playing positionally, white does have 2 pawns for the piece, but the main point is that the deployment of black's pieces is not inferior to white's, which means that black can undertake things with the open lines on the king side. Here we go. You're starting to, it's nice solid move, overprotecting e6, so everything's defended. So here we go. We just starting to put pressure. And white did not want to allow black to capture on e5, but the computer actually likes white to play rook back to e1 in this position, but that would be an admission of utter failure. The white soldiers on. Problem is this helps black more than it helps white. So we've got a weak pawn, but it's not so weak. e6 is a really powerful square for black's rook. And now black is starting to gang up on white's pieces, and this is the killer move. Okay. Pins along the diagonal and pins on the G file, and so now white temporarily up a boatload of pawns for the piece, but is not going to be able to prevent black from infiltrating. So if white plays rook G3, then this is collapsing on white.
What about the bishop f3?
Let's see. Oops. Or bishop f3. That's right. Pinning the rooks. Didn't even think of that. Yeah. Rook takes h3 is much stronger. So white now is down 2 pieces.
Yes.
A raft of pawns for it, but black just has to chase down white's pieces. Now white is down a rook and a knight, and but white doesn't even have passed pawns yet. So. So that was a nice move. Knight g5,
Yes.
white captures. And okay, black doesn't have any pawns, but you're up over a rook, and this is where Pragnananda gave up. So,
Very, very tough game. Very interesting game.
yeah, a real fight between the two of them.
Mhm.
So,
So what are you watching these days? There's still a U.S. Championship is going on. And
juniors, U.S. championships, and juniors and seniors. The
seniors, yes,
the main
three.
U.S. championship will be um, the main U.S. championship will be in October.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
I've been invited to speak at the St. Louis Chess Conference,
Nice.
being held at the same time. So I will be able to attend the opening ceremony. Yeah, the Beal Masters was won by Le Quang Liem, and the Beal Challengers was won by it was a tie between Donchenko and Sale. I thought Sale had won it outright, and Vaishali was beaten in the finals part.
Oh, you know who was there from U.S. that we knew for many, many years ago? John Fedorovich.
He was in Canadian Open. Yes, my friend John from a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, he was with Angela.
Angela,
We spent a little bit of time together, and John Tarjan was there.
Right. The James Tarjan.
James
Who
Tarjan.
won? So John Fedorowicz and I tied for first in the U.S. Junior Championship of 1977, and we both got to play in U.S. Championships. I played the following year because it was held earlier as a zonal, and that was a very strong tournament because it was a zonal, and it was won by Jim Tarjan.
Mm-hmm.
Clinched
Yeah.
with a draw. He was probably in a winning position. Draw against me in the last round.
I asked John Fedorovich why he's not playing any senior championship. So he was lamenting that he's just not being invited there. And there are a few regulars who are playing one tournament a year, U.S. Senior Championship. Among them, Joel Benjamin and Christiansen and a few other players and John Fedorovich, on the other hand, he's playing 7-8 tournaments a year. So
Right.
he's still quite active player. And,
It might be, but let me just look up something. So I think the qualifications was done by U.S. ratings, not FIDE ratings. So Jesse Cry 24-29, and John Fedorowicz is 24-25. So John may have missed out qualifying for the U.S. seniors by 4 rating points.
oh my God.
Because I saw Jesse Cry's FIDE rating, and his FIDE rating is lower than mine. Of course, my rating is very inactive, so it really shouldn't count anyway. But I was looking, I could have been invited. But maybe I'm the one person who can't be invited because I'm officially monitoring the tournament. So.
Well, I mean, it's not a big deal if you will play chess from time to time.
Yeah, that's true. I'd like to.
If you feel like you still have love of the game and competitive spirit, I don't see you should dismiss it. And,
that's right. Yeah.
The actual play.
Well, I'm having my right hip replacement surgery tomorrow, so I'm going to be out of it.
I wish you all the best for tomorrow's surgery, and hopefully you will be recovering very, very quickly. Right? So hopefully we'll see you next week, same place, same time.
Right.
And wish you a lot of success tomorrow.
Yesterday
it was already past, so now for tomorrow.
Plus, I have to say, chess cheating things in my research are keeping me busy. So.
Yeah, it's great to have you as always. Thank you so much for today's program, and I'm looking forward to have you fully recovered next week, and we'll have our program in the same place, same time. Thank you very much, everybody, and bye-bye.